Ladies and gentlemen, today we are talking about the halving and we're talking about altcoin season. We are at a very interesting point in time in the cycle right now. We are on the cusp of entering an altcoin season, but we're not quite there yet. And we could be at a trigger point in which we get pushed over the edge into one. Before we get into any of that, we need to check out the BingX and BitGet exchanges. BingX is global non-KYC and BitGet is global KYC minus the USA. To clarify, BingX, anywhere in the world you can sign up from, and BitGet, anywhere in the world except for the USA and certain parts of Canada. Both are very low in trading fees, both have never been hacked before, and both have my referral links down below for 15% trading fee discounts for life, and also access to reward centers in which you can gain literally thousands of dollars in USDT rewards. So check them out with my referral links below. Let's get into the content. On the screen, we have the Bitcoin dominance chart. This chart simply measures the dominance of Bitcoin in the market in relation to altcoins. So right now it's at 54.4%, meaning that 54.4% of every single dollar in cryptocurrency is in Bitcoin and the rest is in altcoins. Seeing as this chart measures the dominance of Bitcoin versus altcoins, obviously when it goes upwards, that means that Bitcoin is gaining dominance, and when it goes downwards, that means that altcoins are gaining dominance. This is why, historically speaking, in bear markets for crypto, we've seen this chart rise. People flock into Bitcoin for safety. And in bull markets, we see this chart decrease massively. That's when we see altcoin seasons, right? So in order to see an altcoin season, which is when people get very greedy, they put their money in altcoins, the market pumps, you see euphoria in a bull market, that's an altcoin season, right? When we see that this chart is dropping, and that signals kind of a top is approaching for the bull market. Right now, we have not actually seen an altcoin season occur yet. What we've seen is basically since 2022, at the bottom here, we've seen Bitcoin dominance rising. So we've only really been in the first phase of the bull market. We haven't actually seen altcoins outperform Bitcoin, and this is why my strategy throughout the entirety, since 2022 all the way through to now, but especially through to around October, November last year, I haven't really been too focused on making altcoin videos because right now, Bitcoin actually has dominance in the market. If you held any, on a generalized scale, I mean, obviously there's exceptions, but on a generalized scale, if you held Bitcoin from October 2022 to now, your Bitcoin would have outperformed altcoins on a generalized scale. So Bitcoin has been the best investment you could have made on a generalized scale in the cryptocurrency market. Again, obviously there's exceptions. Exceptions don't make the rule, and that's even been the case for the last year, even in 2023 going through to now. Fact of the matter is, Bitcoin dominance has still been rising. It's not entered a downwards trend yet, so we haven't seen an altcoin season. But obviously, as I just said, crypto money cycle flow happens in a certain way in which we need to see an altcoin season to see a traditional bull market. And without an altcoin season, we haven't seen the top. And this is why I'm so confident that we haven't seen a top yet. This is why I'm so confident the bull market's just getting started, because we haven't even really started seeing the altcoin season. We have to remember that a traditional bull market and a traditional bear market happens all within the crypto money cycle flow. So this little graph I've got here, this diagram, whatever you want to call it, I've got here, shows you the cycle flow of cash in cryptocurrency. First and foremost, it starts out in Bitcoin. So people start their investments in crypto with Bitcoin. They go into Bitcoin first and foremost in the bear market mainly. They accumulate in the bear market. The bull market starts to occur. Everything starts pumping. They get a little bit greedy. They flip their money into Ethereum. From there, they flip into altcoins. From there, there's nowhere else for the money to go. The market tops out, so they flip it into fiat, and then the market bottoms out, and they go all the way back around into Bitcoin. That's the crypto money cycle flow. And within that money cycle flow, there's basically 4 steps. We're still on step 1. We're still on the Bitcoin step. But here's where this video gets interesting. There is some evidence to suggest that this Bitcoin step could be ending very, very shortly, and we could be starting the second phase of the money cycle flow, which means we're seeing a bull market, right? Because in a bear market, we only stay in this phase right here. It's only in a bull market that we progress down the money cycle flow chain. So we could be entering the Ethereum part of the cycle, which is synonymous with an altcoin season very, very shortly. How do I know that? Well, we just got to look at the Bitcoin dominance chart. We got to see this blue line on the screen here, okay? We have a descending resistance line on the Bitcoin dominance chart, stemming back from November 2016, going all the way through. That's from the second proper cycle, going all the way through to 2020. We rejected from that level, 2021, when we started our bull market in 2021, and then going all the way through to right now. If we zoom in on the daily chart, which we'll do in a second here, you can see very clearly that this blue resistance line, stemming back from 2016, this 8-year-long resistance line is being tested viciously. We are rejecting from that line viciously right now. And the big question becomes, okay, will we break out of this line, or will we go downwards? Okay? Now, let's try answer that question and let's try discover the nuances here. This is where the video gets really, really interesting. If we do break out of this blue line, we will extend the Bitcoin season of this bull market, and Bitcoin will continue to gain dominance against altcoins, and so Bitcoin will continue to outperform altcoins, and then eventually we'll probably see an altcoin season. But if we extend to the upside here, Bitcoin will continue to gain dominance against altcoins, and we won't enter an altcoin season just yet. But the evidence at this point, historical evidence, does suggest that right now, we will probably reject from this region because, and hear me out here, because we have a trend that kind of has emerged in the past, historical trends, that the halving, which is every single yellow circle, and the red circle represents Bitcoin breaking all-time highs, those things precede the altcoin season. And we have seen both of those things now. We're seeing the halving in 2 weeks. Okay, so the halving is going to be right here, and Bitcoin has already broken all-time highs right here. Now, historically, these two macro data points have been something that's happened as a precursor to altcoin season. And seeing as we've seen both these things occur, and seeing as in 2021 we triggered our altcoin season from a rejection of this blue line, which we're doing right now, it would stand to reason that we would reject from this blue line right now and head downwards for an altcoin season. That would be the logical thing to say. However, unfortunately, this cycle does complicate that a little bit because we have seen deviations in this cycle already from his other historical trends. There's nothing really guaranteeing we're going to maintain by, this historical trend. I mean, if we've broken this historical trend, which we'll discuss in a second, there's nothing really saying we're going to stand by this one. So what is this historical trend that we've broken? Well, very clearly, we have a trend on Bitcoin. We had a trend on Bitcoin, or a developing trend at least, that there was 1,100 days between all-time high and breaking that all-time high. That happened in 2013, going through to 2017. It happened in 2018 or 2017, going through to 2020. And this time there wasn't 1,100 days. There was actually 850 days. Not only that, but we also broke this red neckline of resistance that we formed in prior cycles, which lined up very well with historical macro data points without a retest and rejection. So for example, in 2016, we retested that level and rejected from it. In 2019, we did the same thing. They're called pre-halving corrections. We didn't see that this time. We tested it. It was still valid, but we just broke above it. So we've seen significant points of deviation in this cycle, basically indicating that we're moving faster than expected, earlier than expected. And so if we've seen deviations from that basis, who's to say we won't see deviations from this Bitcoin dominance chart? That's why this is so complicated. And that's why you will notice a trend in my videos recently in macro. I've kind of taken a more middle ground perspective, a more fence-sitting perspective on a lot of these breakouts and a lot of these targets and when they're meant to be reached, because we've already seen historical deviations, and the only point in which I can be confident of something is when it's backed by historical data. Right now, I can tell you the historical data suggests that Bitcoin dominance will reject from this level and start an altcoin season basically right now. Right, that's what the historical data suggests, but there is obviously that point of concern that we've broken macro trends before, so we could just break them again. But here's the good news, right? Regardless of all of that nuance, here's the good news for you. If Bitcoin does break this 8-year resistance line to the upside and pumps, that's not bad. That's actually really good, because that means that we're seeing a more extensive Bitcoin season, Bitcoin dominance season. Bitcoin will go upwards higher, and then we'll likely see an altcoin season later in the year, which means we still make money. And if Bitcoin dominance does follow the historical patterns and starts an altcoin season right now, guess what? We still make money regardless because it's an altcoin season. So either way, we're in a really good position here. I don't see really a downside, whatever happens. I always am one to want the historical trends to remain. So I obviously probably want Bitcoin to reject here. That's what I want to see, because that means we maintain macro reliability based on historical data wherever possible. That's what I want to see. But if we don't see it, it's not the end of the world, because as I said, it's very likely that if Bitcoin dominance breaks up here, we'll just see a altcoin season later in the year, and we'll just see Bitcoin do very, very well for the first half of this year, which is not a problem at all. So either way, we're in a good position, but I'm making this video to inform you that altcoin season is very, very close. If the historical data has anything to say about it, it will be starting basically right now. And if the macro deviations continue, it will be starting later in the year, but that's nothing to really be concerned about, because that means that Bitcoin has another run to the upside. And look, you can't really complain about Bitcoin going upwards. So either way, the macro is in a great position here, but be aware that, altcoin season is definitely, regardless of any of the scenarios, much closer than it is far away, right? We're definitely in a period of time where it's teetering. Look, even if you look at the trajectory of this move to the upside. Let's delete these circles so you can see it. You can just see very easily this move on Bitcoin dominance started out really strong, and it's kind of curving around here. It's kind of rounding out. That's generally a sign that you see a rounding top, and that would lead to an altcoin season. You can also see in TA sometimes, for example, we have a ascending channel of some sort here, that it's definitely indicating that this will reject soon. Maybe we see one fake out to the upside, test this, then come back down, and that line gets invalidated. The point is, the altcoin season is approaching regardless of which way you look at it. And I think that, look, if you haven't started accumulating altcoins yet, I'm not one to give financial advice directly. I can tell you what I'm doing. I started accumulating altcoins back in November. I still hold most of my portfolio in Bitcoin, around 60-65%. But when this chart starts flipping, when I see actual evidence of it starting flipping around, I'm going to start getting rid of basically all of that Bitcoin and flipping it into Ethereum and altcoins. And I'll definitely let you know when I do that. But just so you know, if you haven't at all started accumulating alts, now might be a time to start thinking about doing that. If not, you should have done it already, but definitely now might be a time to start thinking about doing that. So guys, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Check out the BitGet and BingX exchange, as I mentioned at the start of the video. Referral links are down below. Crypto Academy, bull market sale. You want to learn how to trade, that's where you can do it. You can do it in a university-style course with the Crypto Academy's Become a Trader course. All the information's on the website. Check it out. And then finally, the VIP group on Telegram. We've just released our VIP trading results for this quarter, or quarter one, I should say. 77.51% win rate over the course of 18 months. Very, very good stuff there. Check it out if you're interested in getting altcoin trading signals and joining, mainly, a community of people who discuss in group chats 24/7 what's going on with the market, sharing their trading plans, asking for advice, giving advice. That's what you really need in a bull market, and I recommend you get in that so you can get it. Guys, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. I'll catch you tomorrow.